I'd camped in these Appalachian woods a dozen times, but that night the air felt different, thick with damp pine and a silence so deep it pressed against my ears. No owls, no crickets, just a heavy stillness broken by a shrill, erratic whistling that seemed to move through the trees. I froze by the fire, every shadow twitching at the edge of my vision, and then I heard a voice. "Hey, over here!" That made my blood run cold. It was Marcy, my college roommate who'd vanished here 2 years ago. The police only found her boot at the bottom of a ravine. "Marcy," I whispered, my phone flashlight trembling in my hand, but the beam revealed only fog and twisted branches. Her voice called for help, first from the east, then the west, then right behind me, growing more desperate and warped with every echo. I spun and caught a glimpse of something between the pines, too tall, limbs bending wrong, lurching sideways like a broken marionette. It gurgled, "Why'd you leave me here?" In a voice that was hers and not hers. I ran, branches tearing at my arms, chased by a chorus of voices, children crying, men laughing, all mocking and wrong. The truck door stuck. I kicked it open, sobbing, as something slammed against the tailgate, snarling in a language that sounded like rocks grinding teeth. I never looked back, but sometimes, in the static between radio stations or the wind outside my window, I still hear her voice, twisted and pleading, and I wonder if Marcy was taken by that thing, or if she became it. I've hiked the old trails of the Appalachians since I was a kid, but that day, the woods felt wrong from the moment I stepped in. The mist muffled every sound, and 2 miles in, I found the first bones, small animal skulls and femurs arranged in a perfect circle in the middle of the trail, each piece placed with eerie care. The deeper I went, the more elaborate the displays became. Bones strung from branches, vertebrae stacked in little towers, rib cages wedged between rocks like grotesque gates, some fresh and bloody, others bleached by time. Symbols I couldn't recognize were carved into tree trunks and dirt, filling me with a dread I couldn't explain. The air grew colder, heavy with the sense of being watched, and when I tried to turn back, the trail seemed to twist and close behind me. Then I heard it, a guttural croak, almost human, and caught a glimpse of something tall and thin slipping behind a tree, limbs too long and movements jerky like a puppet. The bone arrangements grew more sinister, culminating in a deer skull placed dead center on the path, its empty sockets staring up at me. The smell of rot and copper filled the air as footsteps matched my own, and the croaking voice began to mimic me, pleading and mocking at the same time. I ran, branches whipping my face, the thing's voice now right at my ear, until I burst into the clearing and my waiting car. I haven't been back since, but sometimes I dream of those bones and that thing in the woods, waiting for someone else to wander too far off the path. I've worked as a ranger in the Appalachian Backcountry for over a decade, but nothing prepared me for the winter night a missing child drew me deep into the woods. The forest was deathly quiet, snow muffling my steps as I found a bloodied mitten snagged on a bush and called out, "Eli! Eli, can you hear me?" And a faint, trembling voice answered, but something about it was off. Too flat, too steady, like a recording. Following the tracks, I found Eli huddled beneath a fallen pine, his face streaked with tears and mud, whispering, "Don't listen to it. It's not me." Before I could ask, I heard his voice echoing through the trees from all directions, pleading for help, growing closer. A shape moved just beyond my flashlight's reach, tall, impossibly thin, skin gray and shimmering, limbs bending at impossible angles, its face a grotesque mask stretched into a parody of a child's features. It called out again, now in my own voice, perfectly mimicking my fear. The air stank of rot and metal, and my radio was nothing but static as the thing circled, testing us with every voice it stole. We stayed pressed together until the first pale light of dawn, when the creature melted away into the shadows, its mimicry fading to a guttural hiss. I carried Eli out and never looked back. He never spoke of that night again, and I never answer voices calling my name from the darkness. Some things in these mountains are older than memory, and they're always hungry for another story to wear.